Okay, hi and welcome back to how to do your assignment. I don't know why it's blurry, sorry about that. Okay, so as you can see, I have Bhutan, Lithuania. I've also added Malaysia and India, but apparently I haven't spelled that correctly. Please make sure you do the same. Make sure you've got your spelling correct. Now, as you can see here, there's coal here and there's coal here, so I don't need to have those twice. All I need to do is make sure that that number, so I'm doing Control X, and I just need to move that up to there, because then I can start to see that there are consistencies in what we're exporting or importing. It just helps you when you come to do your analysis. Again, we've got wheat, so I just do this. So when you're choosing the countries that you want to do, it might be a good idea to find a country that, or countries that actually have a lot of similarities. You can see I've got a lot of diversity here. There's a lot of different types of exports, and on this tab I've got a lot of different types of imports, and in fact none of my imports are the same. But that again tells me a different story as well. So there are pros and cons as to which way you actually want to do this. Yeah, I did think I've spelled Malaysia wrong here. Somebody tell me whether I've not spelled Malaysia right. Anyway, what I wanted to do today was show you how to do a graph. So I highlight the cells that I want to make a graph of. Then I go to Insert, Chart. You can also use the icon up here. So there's two different ways of doing it. There's probably a million different ways of doing it, but they're the two that I know. And there you can see it's given me a bar chart of Bhutan and our imports from Bhutan. So instead of just looking at numbers now, we can actually see visually where we're at. Now you can actually change how that looks. You can make it a pie chart. You could make it a line chart. Not much point because you're not comparing data. So a pie chart. All right, different charts are useful for different reasons. So let's get rid of that chart. Okay, so if I highlight this row and then hold down Control and highlight that row and then highlight that row and then do Insert Chart, it does this. What? That doesn't mean anything. But if I come over here and I change it into a line chart, and instead of combining the ranges horizontally, I do it vertically, you can see here that we are exporting more coal and more wheat to India, but that the margin, the gap between the coal and the wheat is higher than the wheat. The gap between what we're exporting to India and what we're exporting to Malaysia is much higher in the coal than it is in the wheat. So they're much closer. So this is what I'm talking about in this assignment. When you have to create data for your analysis, you create graphs that give you meaningful data. Okay, so it gives you a range of information about what's going on, and then you can explain it. And that's what you have to do in a report. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do totals. You may already know how to do this. So if we go over here and we do a sum function, so this is how you do maths in a spreadsheet. They're designed to do maths. They're basically massive calculators. So if we do a sum, and you can see how it's got a bracket there, it's asking what it wants me to sum, and I want to sum that whole column, and then I do return, and you can see it's got 40. So then if I do that, all right, and I put total over here, and then I highlight that row, highlight that row, insert a chart. That doesn't mean anything, so we need to make it vertically. We can see here that we can start to make judgment calls about our total overall exports. So Bhutan is all the way down here, Lithuania is here, Malaysia is here, and India is here. So if I go over to imports, do the same, come down to the bottom, do the sum, highlight the cells. I'm just clicking and holding. So I click in that cell and then hold it. Then I click there, I move the cursor across to here so it becomes different. See, it's a hand, now it's a plus sign. I click and drag across, it automatically fills it across. Type a total in here, highlight that top row, highlight the bottom row, insert, bar chart, we go to vertical, and there we are. But here you can see we import more from Lithuania than we do. So here, if we were to put the... So what I can do now is now I've got imports and exports, I can compare them. So I can do that by copying the chart, going into a Word document. Don't link it to the spreadsheet, paste unlinked. So there I've got, now obviously this has not got a title, which is not helpful. So I need to do imports from various countries. Spelt correctly would be good. So now I go back to my spreadsheet, I go to my exports. Pasting, paste unlinked, always unlink it, otherwise it gets confused. So these are exports from various countries. Then I can say here, oh, sorry guys, comparing these two graphs, it can be seen Australia exports a lot to India, but does not import as much as it does from Lithuania on a comparative basis. Now I say that because if we look at the numbers, we need to be careful about what the numbers say. So if we go back to the numbers, we can see here that that's a big number, that's a small number, but if we come over here, 28,000, so that's 28 million, remember, because we've got it up here. So that's 28 million compared to 11 million. Wow, we import a lot of stuff from Lithuania. Really? Wow, cool, learned something new. All right, so you've got to be careful about whether or not it's percentage or whether it's raw numbers. So just be careful about that. All right, so just be very conscious about what your numbers mean versus what your graph means. Anyway, sorry, a bit sidetracked. Hope that all makes sense. So that's how you make a graph. That's how you cut and paste it into or copy and paste it into a Word document for your report. Remember, do paste unlinked. All right, that was overly complicated. Sorry, guys. Enjoy.